back to another of our live stream book cover creations. Today, we are building a fantasy novel. You voted over on Instagram stories. It was between paranormal and fantasy. You voted fantasy. It was down to like 2 votes, so every vote counted. And we are going to create a really cool one today. I'm so excited for this. So we are going to be using Photoshop CC. We're going to be using a Wacom Intuos Pro editing tablet, which kind of works like a mouse. But it's in like pen form with a trackpad over to the side. And then we're going to be using my blue light blocking glasses so I don't burn out my eyes. As we do this, we are going to be creating basically this like fantasy girl idea of what I'm thinking of, but I wanted to leave a lot up to interpretation today. So you usually get a pretty good say in what we do. You're going to have a big, huge say in how this one works. So get in my comments right now. Tell me you're here. Tell me your name. Tell me where you're from. And tell me your favorite book genre. And let's dive in. Danielle, hey girl, thanks for joining. Let me go ahead and put this right up on screen. We're diving in. And if you've got questions, I will get those answered as we go. Like I said, Adobe Photoshop CC and I will come into Intuos Pro editing tablet, blue light blocking glasses. Let's do this. I am jumping in with my model. Model's coming up on this first. I did very vaguely cut her out. I used the quick selection tool for this, and I'm just going to zoom in here on this a little bit, perhaps. There we go. And I'm going to be using a hard round brush on 100% opacity. I'm pulling up my brush panel here because I didn't have that up before because I restarted my computer and forgot it wasn't there. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit better, and I'm just going to clean up these lines so you can kind of see there's some halo effect on here. Hey, Toph, Sydney, DIY Queen, excited that you're here. Oh, Sydney, you're loving on the fantasy. Very nice. So with this brush, all I'm doing is I am just using a hard round brush on 100% opacity. It is a black brush because I am taking away my color. So anywhere that has the background still there, I'm just coming in and removing. I know it's a little hard to see because it's dark on dark right now, but I am just kind of cleaning up around her skirt a little bit. I'm not super worried about all of it just yet because I am going to be doing so much of the smoke over this. So I'm not worried about her foot. That looks weird. I'm almost certain that's going to be covered up. If it's not, I'll come back in and fix it, but it depends on where I'm putting my smoke for this one. Like I said, she is going to be up on kind of like a mountainy type thing, I think, but I want you to start thinking, do we want like a very dark background? Do we want like a light and bright glowy background? Start thinking of maybe some titles where I'm going to ask you for that in just a little bit. Right now, I'm just erasing the part in between her fingers here. And I am using a layer mask for this. Layer masks are cool because they're non-destructive. So if I use the eraser tool, I would lose any of that data that I removed. And if I made a mistake, tough luck, sister. But with a layer mask, I can just remove it if I need to, or I can paint things back in. And so her hair right now, very, very sharp looking. We are going to come back in and we're going to add some strands, but I'm not going to do that until I place her where I need to place her. And I'm just real quick kind of looking at her. Her skin needs a little bit of retouching, so I'm going to do that right now. I am just using a spot heal tool, and I'm rasterizing the layer, and I'm just coming in anywhere where I see like the big pores or there's like a line that's kind of a little weird or the light's a little harsh. I'm just tapping off with that spot heal tool, and it just kind of removes that. In professional photography, you guys know I'm a photographer, we use this to kind of remove blemishes from skin. So if you've got like a pimple on your face, this is how we fix it usually. And I'm just coming in, just kind of cleaning it up because I'm seeing a little bit of pixelation, couple of little beauty marks on here. I typically, in the photography world, if it's something that's permanently on your body, like a beauty mark, we leave that. If it's something that's temporary, like a pimple, we go ahead and we remove that. But for book covers, I tend to clean things up quite a bit because I don't know what's going to be part of the character from the book, but also I want to remove it a little bit from the model so that it's a little bit different. Again, not worried about the feet because we're going to come in and clean that up later. I just want to work on the shadow on her nose here. It's just a tiny bit weird for me, so I'm just cleaning that up just a tiny bit. There's a little bit of a bump on her neckline right here, and so I'm just going to clean that up. That was just the way the fabric laid. And sometimes the people who do these stock images, so this is not an image I took, this is just a stock image because I don't use my images for pre-made covers. Sometimes they don't, frequently I should say, they don't clean their images before they put them on stock sites. So I just come in and we kind of like clean things up if we see shorts under it or if there's like wrinkles, and just clean it up a little bit. I'm not super worried about it because, again, we're going to cover it in smoke, but we got a lot of really cool stuff here. We're all loving on fantasy. Fantastic. I'm pulling further out so you guys can see what we've got going on here. And the next thing I'm going to do, I don't know if I want to do the mountainy look first or if I want to do the smoke first. I do know that I want to straighten this image because the image that I used, she was not up and down exactly. It was focused on other models. She was off to the side, so she was not angled properly. And I may actually make this a little bit smaller because I know I'm going to have to fit the title in there somewhere, especially with all the smoke. We got a lot going on. Okay, so sound off, people. Do we need to change the color of her dress? Do you want it to be dark or do you want it to be a different color? We can't, obviously, we're not going to go like super light, but we can do like a red or a blue or a green or even a purple. Purple might look nice. Of course, we also might base this around the color of smoke that we are using as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom in a little bit on this so I can get a little bit closer, and I'm going to use my quick selection tool. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this layer so that I don't cause any destructive things going on with it. And on the duplicated layer, I'm just converting that to a smart object. Then I'm going to grab my quick selection tool, which is amazing in Photoshop, and I'm just going to go over the dress. We see that we obviously picked up a little bit of her skin, so I'm just going to use my lasso tool and remove that and just add in anything that I do need for this. This might have actually been easier if I had just done that in the first place, but you never know how easy it might work. And so I'm just removing anything I don't want to be colorized. There's a little bit of her finger in there we don't want. There we go. And a little bit of the shadow on her arm. I'm just going to remove that. So now we have her dress more or less covered, and we can fix the painting in of this when we are done as well. And I am just going to add a new layer, and I'm going to go ahead and I am going to blues. Okay, we're talking blues. I was going purple, but y'all want blue? We can do blue. Let me go ahead and I'm going to grab, I'm going to try maybe like a slightly brighter, darker blue, but not navy. And I'm just going to paint over it. Now we see here, just because I painted on a new layer, so I added a new layer and I painted over it, you can see that it's just paint. So what I'm going to do is change my blend mode. And we're going to see if this works or not. We're going to go down, usually, oh, well, okay, you use that one, it changes it to that. Wow! Usually I go with color or hue. In this case, color is stunning. So now that we've got this gorgeous blue dress, and yeah, that is stunning, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to make sure I clean it up because, as you can see, it kind of went on her outfit a little bit, or her outfit. It is on her outfit. It went on her skin. We need to clean that up. But I did miss a little bit of it over here. So I'm just going to grab, before I put my layer mask on, I'm just going to grab my brush, hard brown brush, and I'm just going to paint it on this edge. And I am not worried about it going on her skin because I'm cleaning that up in just a minute. So I'm just making sure I get the color everywhere I need it before I add my layer mask. When I add my layer mask, I'll be painting on and off on the layer mask, and that way it's non-destructive. So if I accidentally zip over something on her, see, like this, so if I accidentally go like that, I didn't just ruin it and have to repaint it. I can just fix it just like that. So now with that same round hard brush, I'm just coming in and I'm cleaning up anything around her skin. And I actually want to move in pretty dang close so that I can see exactly where that is. Now, with this particular image, there is no color casting, but on a lot of images, you will see the color of the clothing reflected on the person's skin. This is because the light bounces off the clothing and reflects on the things around it. Have you ever been out in the summer and you've worn red with the bright, bright sun and people ask if you had a sunburn? It's because of color casting. It's because that light is bouncing off of your outfit and it is bouncing onto your skin. This is true of like typically bright colors like reds. This happens a lot with greens. It does happen with certain blues. It can happen with all colors, of course, but it's more noticeable with those other colors. And so if you do have color casting on a model, when you change the color of their outfit, you actually have to do another layer and very lightly paint that color onto their skin to tint the color cast so that it matches appropriately, because you don't want to have a red dress that was changed to blue have a weird red cast on the person's arm when it should be a blue cast, right? Makes sense. All right, pulling back now that I have handled that. we've got a stunning blue dress. Freedom Matthews in the house. Excited to see y'all. We are creating a fantasy novel, and we are about to put this girl up on a mountain, walking through clouds of smoke. We're going to do some really cool things, and I want you to start thinking about titles because that part is coming next, my friends, before we deal with the rest of our background. So here we go. I think the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add the smoke in. I think that's my next step in this one. And then I'm going to add in some of those mountainy things, and then we can talk about the rest of it. So I am just pulling up the folder. I know you guys cannot see it, but I'm pulling up my folder of smoke. I think I'm going to go with, I'm looking at my colors. I can color change anything, but I almost think given that we've got a blue dress, I might go more with the purples and pinks than with the blue tones for this. So let's go ahead and let's see what we can do. I think I'm going to, this one, that one. Let's find out. So we've got these really cool, ooh. I'm like, how much of her finger do I actually want exposed there? I'm just inching this over slightly so that I can see placement. And usually when I'm doing things like clouds and things like that, I like to do my front clouds first. Then I'll put the smoke in the back after that point. So anything that I want to be more up near the front, I'm going to do that first. And I did something like this for a client once. They were pre-made covers, and she bought this like 7-book series. Ooh, there, I like that. That's cute. So if you guys have not checked out Melanie Gilbert's series, she did a retelling series with like all sorts of shiftery type things in it, and the covers are to die for. Like, oh, I wish I'd kept them for myself. Stunning. Let's see, what else do we want? We're just going to kind of add more of this in a little bit, and we're going to blend some of this a touch. I don't want to like cover up too much of her body, but also we want kind of some of those smoky elements to be popping through on this one. Great color, right? It is super pretty. And I am going to be changing this up just a little bit. I do need to work on the lower half of this, but now I want to kind of move behind her because it's going to start filling things in. So I am going to grab some of these things, and anything behind her, usually it's going to be like darker toned. So if I wanted, I could either mess with it, or I could duplicate the layer, and then I could just put it down on a multiply layer to make it a little bit darker. I may almost desaturate that, but I'll come back to that. We'll find out. We're kind of having her walk through this smoke. I may need to create a ground, is what I'm thinking, because I don't necessarily want too much, but also I want some. So we're just going to, oops, I don't like that it's above that layer. I'm going to move that down so that it's lower. This is interesting. This is interesting. And I do have, of course, those rocks. Let me start adding some of those in to kind of see where this is going to be falling. I've got the rock layers. Here they are. I'm going to move this above some of them, but not above all of them. And I'm just going to start turning them on just to see how things are going to be looking as I start to fill these in. This might need to come up higher. And maybe I don't love it as much as I thought I was going to. I might not be loving that quite so much. I was kind of thinking it would like peek through some of this. And I can get it to like kind of peek through there. You know, I don't love it. I do not love it. So what I'm gonna do, because I am gonna kind of work on a ground layer, I am gonna actually drag this down beneath her, and then I'm just going to flip this, make it bigger, and use the rock side of things. Haha. There we go. Now all of a sudden we've got her walking on solid land. Yay us. But of course we do have to add in some of that shadow. We've got to add in some more smoke. We're going to have to add some more depth to this. So let's keep going. Start thinking right now, friends. You get to pick the title, and I'm starting to ask for that right now. So get your ideas in there. We're going to get to it in just a minute, but now is your time. So the next step I'm going to take, is to actually create that kind of shadow to ground her a little bit. Because right now, even though she's on that rock, she's definitely floating. So I'm grabbing a soft round brush, 100% opacity on black. And I am making this nice and big. And I am just tapping this in front of her. Now that obviously is too dark, so we lower the opacity, but it kind of grounds her a little bit. But now we need to put a little bit of darkness against the model. So I am actually coming in and I am just going to add a new layer, and I'm going to use a clipping mask so that it only affects the layer just beneath it. So you can kind of see I just painted that on. It's just affecting her. It is not affecting anything else. So all of a sudden, I just added that whole new layer of depth just by darkening that down. So now we need to continue on with this. We're going to start adding in some more smoke. We might start adding in some other things. And I'm going to start to flesh out the back of this as well so that I can blend it. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start grabbing some of these things. And we're just going to rotate and move things around a little bit. And we're going to build that up here. I may do some color adjusting on this because right now this is seeming a little bit saturated to me. So we will see how we're going to play with that momentarily as I just kind of look through and see what I need to add, what I need to change around. There we go, kind of blending things in and continuing on with some of these things. In fact, we could even add in some darker things over here as well. And I want to bring that below those particular layers. There we go. And because that is like very, very red, I almost may come into a curves panel. So I'm just going to grab a curves panel real quick. I'm going to use a clipping mask to that. And I'm going to go down to the blue channel and slide that over so that it kind of becomes this pinky, purpley color, but we get the different textures. Oh, there we go. That's nice. That's good. Let me know, guys. Jump in. Tell me what you're thinking, if you're loving this, what the title should be. I'm not seeing any title ideas yet, so like, hustle, friends. This is your chance. This is your chance to have input in this one. I am liking this. I'm going to darken down my background, though. So I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to duplicate this particular background layer with the kind of color, the texture, that's the word, the texture on that. And you can see already it's starting to darken that down. And I'm just going to erase some of that because I don't like it all the way. There we go. There we go. I almost wonder if I want to, and I think I might, I almost want to mess with this back cloud and darken some of this down just a little bit. And I might actually put a little more smoke over her, like the top part of her, because I've got the arms covered up pretty good that she's like walking through the smoke. But I think I want to add a little bit more. But I don't want like a ton of stuff here. Sarah, I'm so glad that you are loving this. I'm a big fan of this too. I am going to, oh, actually I'm going to scroll up on my layers real fast. I'm going to come up to the very top here. I'm going to add in this purple here. And I'm just going to make sure that it kind of goes over part of her hair, something. I need it to go over something so that it blends. Oh, there we go. It's starting to go over her hair there. So I'm going to put that layer mask on. And I actually want to remove it all. So I just used Command-I to invert that layer mask. Now I'm going to zoom in and go right on over to her hair. And I am just going to, on a soft round brush, 100% opacity, I'm just going to start painting that back in. And haha, maybe I shouldn't have done that. We may need to switch colors. Yeah, okay, now I don't like it. Let me switch colors. Hang on, guys. We're going to find that reddish color. And then we're just going to find something that kind of goes with her hair. We might have to rotate this a little bit. This, ooh, that might be good. Let me, because now I'm zoomed in. It's either a little extra work or you zoom back out and zoom back in. I'm just doing the extra work version of it. So I'm just making this a little bit smaller. I'm actually going to rotate this. And then I'm just going to kind of come in and just see where I can kind of put this over her That could work. Hold on. Let's check this. Zooming back out. I like this. What I'm going to do is, because it's very intense right now, I'm just going to lower the opacity and see how that looks for me. Oh, there we go. Okay, we got this. With the clouds, you kind of want to call it faded. Nice. Let's see if I can add some words to that, just because with pre-made covers, adding a couple of words tends to give better spacing. Because a lot of titles are more than one word, because it's easier to search when people are looking up books. So add some words to that, but I like it. All right, I need to ground some of these cloud shadow smoky things. So let's do this. I'm grabbing my selection tool. I'm setting it to auto select, which means it taps on whatever the top layer is there. It's going to make it easier for me to grab a hold of the clouds. I am going to add a layer above it and clipping mask it just to that one layer. So we're just right now working on this purple layer. All I want to do for this is come over to my gradient tool. I'm going to make sure that it is color over transparent, and I'm going to switch it to the radial tool. And then I'm just going to, on the black layer, really? Okay, it didn't switch. Hang on. Clicking on the right ones. Now we got it. I am just starting to add in some black here. I just want to darken it down around the edges of this to ground it a little bit. It's obviously really dark with this, so we back off the opacity, and that just kind of grounds it a little bit. So watch. We've got it grounded a little bit. Now we've got it very, very bright. So just clicking back and forth, you can see how that grounds it into the conversation going on inside of the cover. I am going to grab, I guess the wrong one. That's okay. I actually need to do that one too. So I added a blank layer, clipping mask to it. Same deal. We're just kind of tapping down along the edges if we want, and we can actually do some separation behind some of the other things to separate it a little bit from the ones in front of it. See how it automatically makes that stand out a bit more? We're just going to go ahead and take that opacity back so that we are just grounding it just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab that other pink color that I was working with in the front. Thank you very much. That's the layer. I'm going to add in my new layer, and I am going to use my clipping mask to just do the exact same thing. We're just grounding this in. And because this is on the edge, I can ground this a little bit more than I would ground some of the other things. Oh, I didn't like that one. And I might not like that one either. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to lower the opacity on that. Now, in a minute, I'm actually going to put some darkness on the bottom to bring that up. So while it's a little dark right now, it's going to make sense in just a minute. I now want to make sure I'm going in and I want to separate some of those reddish layers in the back. In fact, I may even want to change the coloring on that just a little bit because it is kind of red. And so I'm going to come in and I am actually going to, step one, change my curves panel. So I'm just going into my layer adjustments, into curves. I'm using the clipping mask. I'm going to go down to the blue channel, and I am going to pull it a little bit to the left up on the top because it kind of starts to make it more pink-like. And that makes a little more sense with where we're going. I'm then going to do that to the ones in the front as well. And I do want to add a little bit of separation. And so I'm just going to grab a new layer, and I'm just going to kind of put it down around some of these clouds just to make that stand out a little bit. And you can do this separation-y type layer with either a dark color or a light color. So if you were doing this, if you're designing something like this, that's how. Fantastic. I found the correct layer. So I'm just going to come in. I'm going to grab a curves panel. I'm going to do the exact same thing, going down to the blue channel from RGB. And I'm just moving it over so that it's a little more on the pink side. Now, all of a sudden, because we've gone more to the cool tones, she has become a little desaturated. So I'm either going to need to kind of like warm some stuff up around her, or I'm going to need to warm her up a little bit just to kind of make it blend a little bit more. I typically like the desaturated look. This is just a little, not quite what I want. I actually may warm up this entire thing. Let's find out, shall we? Do you like it when I say let's find out? It's always an interesting thing when I say that. I'm coming up above all of my layers right now, and I am just going down to my curves panel. This is a trick we as photographers who do fine art composite imagery use to kind of blend in the things that we're creating. We're just going to that curves panel. We're going down to the blue again, And we either go to the blue side and make things more cool, or we go to the yellow side and we warm things up because it kind of grounds what we're doing a little bit. And I'm liking more on the yellow side. And actually, my next step is going to be to mess with my brightness and contrast. So I pulled the brightness and contrast panel, and I'm going to pull up that contrast a lot. And that is starting to blend nicely. And I just want to take my curves panel back just a little bit. You saw that shift from the yellow to the blue. But now my clouds are a little intense. So we are actually going to be toning that down a little bit. There's a number of ways we can do that. We can desaturate them. We could put all of the layers in one folder and desaturate that. But because I have clouds above and below her, it starts to get a little dicey. So I'm actually just going to come up with a saturation layer on top of everything. And I'm just going to pull back the saturation so that it's kind of calming things down a little bit. It's not quite so intense. I'm just playing with the lightness just a little bit. I could potentially move my hue, but it affects the entire cover. So then I'm just going to take my brush on a black brush, soft, round, 100% opacity, and I'm just painting it off of some of, but not all of, if you notice, her skin. And I'm tapping onto some parts of her dress just to make her stand out a little bit more. Now, my next step is definitely going to be to, let me see, I need to bring this down. That's not quite where I wanted it. There we go. My next step is going to be to kind of ground the bottom. So I'm adding a brand new layer. I'm grabbing my gradient tool, and on a linear gradient tool, I'm just holding my shift button down and dragging this up to create kind of a soft line down there. I know it's hard to see with the frame, but you'll be able to see it a little bit more. When I remove that, I'm going to back that up just a little bit. Fading colors, faded into color. Nice, nice. And hello, thanks for joining. Appreciate y'all being here. Let's actually get to our title, and then we can talk, should I add in magical flair to this, like a magically swirly element? Because I'm almost thinking the answer should be yes. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Also, should I do like stars in the background? I don't know. We may not even see it very much once we get the title there. So let's actually go ahead and let's do the title. So I'm going to go ahead and I am just going to grab the words that consistently live on my books because it's easier for me to already have them up there. Then I don't have to deal with it. I'm just making that a little bit bigger. Gold actually might be the color for this one. That actually might be the font for this one. This might be the easiest font I've ever done, guys, because it was done from the last one. We always put our words on different layers so that we can move them and arrange them the way that we need to. So we've got that. And let's call it night. Oh, I like that. Y'all, these are good suggestions. I'm going to call it faded to color. That sounds like fantasy. Okay. I'm just saying. And then we're just going to arrange things the way that we want when we get it on there. We are, of course, again, doing this in different layers so that we can change things. I got very dramatic with that. Sorry, guys. I don't know what that was about. That's interesting. Okay. I can live with that. We can do that. Sometimes you would add like a frame to this. Sometimes you would add some other things. I'm going simplistic because that's the way we're doing it today. And I was not prepared to do a frame. That usually takes a little bit more work. But we might have to do that soon. And of course, I am going to add my author name down low. Author name. I did have that on here at one point, but apparently I turned off that layer and I'm not going searching for it. So here we go. We're just going to add this down here. In fact, I am going to change that. With some fonts, you get like fancy letters for capital things. And so it goes a little lower, a little higher, a little to the side, whatever. With this particular case, I do not wish to do so. So here we are. This is what we've got. I am probably going to add some flair to that because you guys know I'm obsessed with my flair on titles because things that glow sell. That's your pro tip for the day. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to add in my flair brushes to my Photoshop panel so that I can access those. It's just loading slowly. And while it loads, I'm going to grab some water. And I need to hear from you. We're not done with this yet. We're still making decisions. We're still doing things. But I want to know, what type of genre do you want to see next week? Do you want to see like a big text-based one? Do you want to see paranormal? Do you want to see dystopia? Do you want to see like a princess cover? Do you want to see something witchy? Do you want to see something Christmassy? What type of things do you want to see for next week's live stream? We do this every single Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. So mark your calendars, hit the notification bell here on YouTube, and you will be able to access that every time I go live for my live book readings or my cover creations or my interviews or the fun, fabulous things that I have and surprise you with on my YouTube channel. I am looking for my flare brush right now. It has loaded. I'm scrolling down. It's taking a hot minute for me to find it because I have millions of brushes here. There we go. We got it. So then, of course, as I say that, I realize I have already prepared a flare for you, and I didn't do it properly. That's okay. I'll show you how to do it. Watch this. This is actually really cool. When I do my flares, I just take my flare brush on white 100% opacity and I tap it on one time. Then I go up to the layer panel. I come down to layer style and I go to outer glow. This is going to make it glow. It's going to be pretty. I'm going to grab like a bluey color here. It's almost definitely going to change, but I know it's going to stand out. So I want to show you what it looks like. You have right there, it kind of starts to glow. In fact, that didn't stand out quite the way I thought it would. So let me try a yellow color. That's extremely bright. So if I were going to do something like this, I would back that down. That's an obnoxious yellow color, though. I usually go for like a golden yellow. There we go. That's better. And then I can bump up my intensity just a touch. Usually you are going to have flares that are based off of your colors on your font. Sometimes it can be atmospheric, though. So it could go with like the pink clouds if that is what we wanted. So this is like gold on gold coloring. I also have the ability to edit that and change it from that gold on gold coloring to more of like a gold on pink, which is almost kind of cute. Maybe we'll do that. I'm just playing to see what's going to fit. There we go. There we go. A cottagecore Wiccan inspired cover. Wow, that was very specific. Cottagecore. Oh, okay. If y'all want cottagecore, you need to be very specific on cottagecore because, like, I see cottagecore on TikTok, but I need to know your vision for how this translates into a book cover. Help a girl out. Give me some like details. Horror we've got in here. Y'all are fun. You guys are so funny. I love it. I'm going to continue to work with my flares. So right now I'm just putting it in different places on my screen. So, no. Sometimes with that auto select, it just likes to mess with me. Oh, I don't love it when it does that. There we go. It's kind of bright. There we go. That's a little better. Sometimes if you have like a bright flare in a different color than the font, and it's not near like the color, it kind of looks a little weird. I almost want to make this pop a little bit. There's a couple of ways to make the font stand out for this particular time. I am actually going to scroll down, add a new layer. I'm going to grab my brush tool on a soft round brush, 100% opacity. I always paint on 100% opacity and then back the opacity of the layer off rather than the brush. And, oh, wrong color. I'm just going to use like a black brush behind it, and you can see I'm kind of tapping it in. Not everywhere, but I am kind of tapping it in just a little bit, and then I'll back that off so that it stands out, but not like a ton. And I think I almost want another flare up on the top of that. So let me go ahead and let me grab those flares again. I'm just going to duplicate the layer. And I am going to hit Command-T for transform, and I'm going to make it smaller, and I'm going to put it somewhere up on the word faded. No, I did not want to rotate that. What even? And I am just going to add that in. If you've got questions or comments, things you want to talk about, please go ahead and drop those in there. I am like checking it as I'm working, but not like totally. And I do see that my layer here to kind of make it pop is over top of my model's head, which I don't love. So I am going to drag that down to where my model is, and I think she's right there. What happened? I didn't like that. Okay, I moved it back. I'm going to put a white layer mask on here, and then I'm going to grab my soft round brush, 100% opacity. And I am going to paint it off of here. Speaking of her and her face, I do need to work on her hair just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go down to her layer and then right above her layer. Sometimes I work with hair above and below her layer, but for now, I think I'm just going to go right above her layer. I'm going to zoom right on in here. I am going to, on 100% opacity, on I can either do soft or hard brown brush down to 1 pixel, though. It's going to be very, very, very small. I am just going to start painting in some pieces of hair. You can see how that's kind of already stranding out from that. Wow, that might be a little much. That's okay. We're going to keep going. And, oop, nope, not over that, baby. We're just kind of adding some pieces so that it looks a little more realistic, a little more like the wind is sweeping. It is moving around her hair. You know, ladies, if you're here, you understand the struggles of flyaway hair. We're just going to add some of those in to make it look nice and realistic. Because no matter what you do, you will always have those flyaway hairs. It is never going to be that super sleek straight line that you get when you cut out certain hair types. So I'm just kind of adding a little bit up to the top there. There we go. And just filling in a little bit to the side. Maybe even wrapping around her ear just a touch. There we go. There we go. That works. Checking in with you guys. A girl in a flower field with a forest in the background reading a book with a pentagram on it, and the girl is, okay, we're very specific. Nice. I like it. It's in dark woods. Oh, dark woods. Man, I can do that. Woven hats and lots of dandelions. What about some forest animals with her? You're going to send... Oh, okay. We're getting very, very specific. I like it. I like it when y'all send me things. Okay. I do want to, real quick, I see a little bit of a dark line around her arm that I just want to remove just a little bit. Am I not on the right layer? What is this? What is that? What happened? Oh. Well, y'all, I'm not on the right layer, which is also why that went the wrong way. Okay, now we see what's going on here. Is this my model? Is this my model? Where is my model? Y'all, life lesson for you. Your layers need to be labeled or you will never find anything. Oh my goodness. What's happening? There it is. Good grief. I just want to fix that one little spot that was so hard. I'm just removing that little bit of black around her arm and shoulder right there to blend in with the clouds. I am losing my voice a little bit, so thanks for bearing with me on this one. We're just cleaning that up just a tiny bit, removing that line. I always look for like weird things. And now that we actually have that light color in here, you can kind of see where things got weird and we have to clean it up a little bit. So I'm just coming in and I'm just fixing things just a little bit so that it's blended properly and makes sense with the world that we are currently living in with this book cover. There we go. Okay, backing up. There we go. All right, I'm going to save this real fast because I didn't do that. I actually don't know if I changed that number. I think I did, but I'm scared, so I'm going to redo it. And then I think I do kind of want to add a little bit of magic to this one. So let me real quick find my magical-y elements, my magical-y things, and see what's going to be a good fit for this one. No, not that folder, the other folder. I have 3 folders of like magical-y elements, and I always manage to pick the one that I don't want. Okay, 3rd time's a charm. This is definitely the one. There we go. Better. All right, I'm coming up above my cloud layers. And I am going to drop in some magical swirly elements. And I'm just changing my blend mode. And I'm just seeing where I might potentially like this. Or maybe I don't like this. Well, the first one I didn't love. Let me see if it works on the other one, or maybe I don't mean to actually do this at all. Oh, that's better. I'm going to leave that in because I like this. Now it is over her face, which we don't like. So we're putting the layer mask on, and then on a soft round brush, 100% opacity, we're going to paint it off of her eyeballs, because that is not at all what we wanted there. We're just taking that off. Anywhere we don't like it on her, we're just going to remove. I think I do like it in front of her dress, so I'm just taking it off of her face. But that kind of gives it a nice little pop. And then I may add a little bit of the magic-y things right in the top corner here, and maybe a little bit on the back. And so I am just looking for the right little type of swirly things. It may actually involve using the same thing at a different angle, but I don't know. And I'm just rotating things to see where they're going to fall best. That is not it. I don't like that one. It's boxy. I'm done with that one. We're moving forward, friends. Let's find the one that's actually going to work for me and not against me. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yes. We like that. We like that greatly. We are going to swap this on over here, screen this in here, add just a little bit of pop. There you all. You loving this? Dang, I got my people in here like full out plan on the next one. You're so funny. I love it. Okay. So now I think I want to add a little bit. Oh, I know exactly what I want to do. Okay, we're going to get a debris brush, y'all. We're adding in a new layer on white. We are going to be getting my debris brush, and we are going to be doing the dang thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the debris brush, and I'm 100% opacity. I'm just putting in some little dots of white that we're going to make glow in just a minute. We're going to make them glow pink. It's going to be awesome. I am excited. I am like very energetic today, y'all. I don't know why, but thank you for being here. I'm going to go into my layer down to layer style down to outer glow. Same deal as before. And it even has the same colors before. I might just back it off just a touch with the opacity. But like, look how that already has made this pop. Look at that. Can we just talk about this? The other thing I can do is actually grab a round flare brush, which I think is something I do want to try. And I'm just coming down to my round flare brush, and I'm just going to tap it on once. You guys know the drill. We're going to make sure that we add in that glow to it. Same type of deal. Gonna pull up my glow. And then I am just going to keep duplicating this layer and just kind of dropping that into this, rotating, putting it in different spaces. Oop, nope, wrong thing. I double tapped on that one. That was not what I wanted. And oh, man, that really pulls it together. You guys, I like it. So we're just kind of adding in little bits of flare around this. And I'm just kind of, no, don't move that. What are we doing? Oh my goodness. There we go. That's the right one. I'm just kind of moving the flare around to where I want it to go. And I think I want to mainly contain my flare to the cloud area. I don't necessarily want it on the other areas. And I am just going to also put some on the back cover as well. I'm just going to add different sizing for this one, put it in different places. And I want you to get in my comments right now, and I want you to tell me what you think this story is about. If you are an author or a publisher who wants to buy this, you can grab it right now for $100 before I go off air today. Otherwise, it goes back to coveraday.com, and it will be $250 to $300 for this. So you'd be getting it for less than, or for more than 50% off if you buy it right now. And if you're a smart, savvy person, you know that if you suggest something for the next week and you show up and you help me customize it, you can get a full-on customized cover, which is like several $100s for me, for $100. So if you're smart, you know how to make that happen. But you can go ahead if that is something you want to grab. Now is the time. What are we doing? Kim sells her covers. Yes, I do. Sarah says she would buy the book as soon as it was out. Yeah, this is available for authors and for publishers to grab. I do write lots and lots and lots of books. This is probably not one that I am going to keep because I already have like 100 covers I have to finish writing. But it is available for people to grab. You just recently found out about my books through my TikTok. Oh, that's exciting. I hope that you are enjoying them. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add just a little bit of colorizing to this. So I'm just coming up to my top level. I'm grabbing a brightness and contrast panel. I'm just sliding up my contrast a little bit just to see how far I can push it. Apparently, I'm up to like 40 on that. That's a lot. And I may actually just bump the brightness just the tiniest bit. Anybody getting like Wendy Peter Pan vibes all of a sudden? Like, is it just me? Is it just me? I like this. I am going to make my hook line on the back bigger because there's not a ton taking up space right there. So that is actually going to be a little bit bigger. Now I do need to finished up by taking care of my spine. I'm going to put all of my title in one folder. I'm going to duplicate it. I'm going to go to edit, over to transform, to rotate clockwise 90 degrees, and then I am going to shrink this. Obviously, spines will change given the spine width of whoever has purchased this cover and how big their book is. So it could be like straight in one line. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe it's big and bulky like this. This cover spine is huge. It's like 700-800 pages, whatever it happens to be. So most books will not be this big unless it's like an anthology omnibus collection-y type thing. But this gives you the main basic ideas for this just to kind of see the placing on that one. So real quick, I'm just going to take off my guidelines here so that I can see where else I might need to do a little bit of work. I'm actually going to come in on top of all of my layers right there. And I'm just going to grab my gradient tool and I'm just going to fix my settings. And I am going to just tap in a bit of darkness in certain places around the cover just to ground it down a little bit. And add a little tiny bit of texture to that. And maybe a little bit here. I'm going to lower that just a touch. I'm going to add one more layer here because I know I want to ground it a little bit on this side as well, where that spine is. So I'm just kind of pulling in a little bit here. And then I'm going to lower that opacity. And that just kind of, if you hold your hand up to it, you can see kind of where that line is. Okay. And I'm just looking to see if there's anything else I want to do to this. I'm just checking to see if I want to make any other changes, but I actually think I'm pretty happy with this. What do y'all think? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save this. I'm going to check in with you guys over here and see how things are going. You're getting the vibes too. Yes. Cosplaying for me. Yeah. All the great cosplays for my books. Y'all are getting the same vibes. I'm so excited to hear that. You've all the screens ready for me. Oh, okay. Got the stuff done. Fantastic. All right, guys. So this is the cover. This is your last chance to buy it while I'm on air. This is going to go away in just about a minute here. It will go over to coveraday.com. I pointed the wrong way. I'm like, I don't know which way. Over here, coveraday.com has hundreds, literally hundreds of pre-made covers, also customized covers, and I let you guys vote. So every single week we vote inside of our Instagram stories on what topic we're going to do next week. We've got a lot of people ask for a text-based cover. We've had some for fantasy and paranormal and dystopians. We've got princessy things. People have asked for like contemporary type stuff. So go ahead and let me know what you would love to see next week. We're going to vote on it. And whoever votes the most, that's the one we're going to do next week. And you get to help me make all the fun decisions. You write a book with this cover, but you're 13. Hey, you can write it. that's fine. Let this cover inspire you. It's totally cool. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining. I do appreciate y'all hanging out. I will see you next week for another of our live stream cover creations. Make sure you come hang out with me over on TikTok and on Instagram and here on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to the channel yet, hit the subscribe bell and the notification bell so that you are notified whenever I post videos. I've got huge series coming. You are not going to want to miss out on these. And so that you get notified when I live stream, just like this one. Earlier this morning, we did a live book reading. I read the first 3 chapters of Jaded here on the YouTube page, so you can check that out as well. I will see you for sure next Wednesday for a live book reading at 11 a.m. Eastern, and for sure here on the cover creation broadcast at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then we've got some other stuff I'm planning and surprising you with this week, and some really cool videos here on the YouTube page, and then lots of fun, fabulous TikTok things. Go leave comments. All right, friends. Do me a favor before we go. I know a lot of you were chatting in the chat box. That's super helpful to me. But YouTube also prioritizes comments down at the bottom. So please leave a comment or 2 separate from the chat box, just saying that you loved it or you had fun or what your favorite part was or whatever. Leave some comments because that boosts my ranking and helps me get seen by more people. All right, my friends. Thanks for joining. I'll see you next week.